Hey ladies, I am Deepti Jain, and I help mompreneurs start and grow their businesses online. Now, I often talk about the mindset for us mompreneurs, right? Why it is that we in particular have sometimes a really difficult time focusing on our businesses and making them successful, more than a lot of the other. Subsections of the population, and that's because we actually have sets of problems that are very, very unique to us mompreneurs. And so, one of the things I thought I'd talk about today is the power of saying no. I think that is an area that a lot of us mompreneurs have a tremendous amount of difficulty with, right? Such a short, simple, easy to say word, two letters, N-O. But for some reason, we seem to fumble all over ourselves when we need to put those two letters together and just say firmly and quietly, no, I don't want to do that. And I think, a lot of it comes from being moms, because as moms, oftentimes being primarily in charge of the home and caretaking and groceries and cooking and picking up the kids, sometimes, many times, I find, that happening with myself. I'll kind of say yes to things that I don't really want to, whether, it's the kids asking me for, I don't know, a midnight snack at the end of a really tiring and exhausting day when I can't wait to just get into bed and just fall asleep and be dead to the world. And all of a sudden, my son will be like, Mom, I'm really starving. Can you please, 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 with those puppy dog eyes. Your kids know how to manipulate you and make you say yes for sure. And so he'll do that. And I'll be like, okay, fine. What do you want to eat? I'll fix you something really quickly, right? Or, if it's your husband or significant other saying, hey, can you please make sure that laundry is done by tomorrow? And you're like, yeah, sure. Or it's in the workplace, right? If you're running your own business and your clients are demanding something, or if you have a job and your boss is demanding something, right? Your teammates are demanding something. Hey, can you just take care of that? And, just make this happen by tomorrow, please. And you're going to have to pull an all-nighter to do that. It's unreasonable to expect, but you just cannot put those two letters together, right? So I wanted to talk to you today about why it is so important to say no to the things that you really want to say no to. Okay? And it's a work in progress. It never gets perfected. And of course, there are many things that you want to say yes to, right? You might want to go out on that romantic date with your hubby. You might want to make something amazing for the kids to eat, right? You might want to cook up a wonderful recipe. You might want to take a lead on that meeting at work and actually go for it. But make sure it's what you want to do. Don't just get pushed into doing something, even if your heart is saying no. Okay. And I'll tell you why it's so amazing and so important to actually say no. Tell me in those comments, if you have a tough time, just being able to say no. And if there are times when you wish you'd been able to go ahead and say no more assertively and firmly. So, three reasons I'll give you, and they're just the tip of the iceberg, really. But one is that saying no to the things that you don't want to do gives you the time, it frees up the time for the things that you do want to do, things that are important to you, things that you prioritize higher than whatever else you're being kind of forced into doing, right? And I'll give you a classic example. I'll give you an example. Social obligations. Now, in today's crazy world of quarantining and the pandemic, a lot of social obligations have really come down. But think back to the days before and to the days that are coming. Think ahead to the days that are coming, fingers crossed, when you have a bunch of social obligations, right? Some friend that you've met like 3 months ago who calls you for a girls' night out somewhere, and you really just don't want to do it. But you're thinking, it's going to look really bad. She's going to think I'm stuck up if I say no. Let me just go ahead and, okay, fine. It's just an evening. I'll say yes. But you know what? It's an evening that you could have spent doing something that you wanted to do. Maybe it's even something as simple as just reading a book that you've been wanting to read for a while. Maybe it's as simple as putting your feet up and watching a TV show. Or maybe it's as simple as getting done that stuff on your work list that you really wanted to get done, right? But instead, you are bogged down with these social obligations, this fear of saying no, and you're wasting hours and hours and hours before you know it. So, the point I was making here was that by saying no to the things that you don't want to do, you free up time for the things that you actually do want to do, okay? The second reason for saying no is that it puts you in control. It puts you in the driver's seat. It makes you realize that you are really, in control of your life. You can do what you want to do, not what others want you to do. Okay, that's the second reason. And the third reason, which is actually my favorite, it just makes you feel good. Sometimes it just makes you feel good. There have been times, after all this practice when I have said no successfully and correctly. And I have felt so good after that. I did it. I did it. I did it. I actually said no. And most of the time, if you say it nicely, of course, you don't want to be that horrible person like, no, 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 you don't want to be that person. But if you, just say, I'm really sorry, going back to that example of the social obligations, you just say, I'm really sorry. I already have a prior engagement, or I would have loved to be there, but unfortunately, I'm just not going to be able to make it this time. I hope you understand. You know what? People are going to understand. It's you who have that issue with saying no. Or, like I said, with a work task too. If you say to your boss even, or to your client, set reasonable expectations. I know that setting reasonable expectations, so important. I might actually do another live about it. But even if at work you say to your boss or you say to your client in your business, hey, you know what? I don't think that's really going to happen in that timeline. You've already given me all these other things to do. So how about I turn this in next week rather than tomorrow at 9 a.m., right? I think they'll respect you for it. Of course, you have to, at work, it's a little trickier. You have to make sure you're not really kind of messing your career path up. But don't be too scared to say no. Try it, and let me know when you do, and tell me how good it feels, okay? Now, we talked today about how saying no is one of the things that often stands in the way, especially of us mompreneurs, because we are so used to saying yes in so many different walks of our life. But I also have for you today a free handout I've put together of the 5 most common obstacles that stand in the way of us mompreneurs and what we can do about it. I even have one action step that you can take right now for each of those obstacles, should you be encountering that, like so many other mompreneurs, okay? And you'll find a link where you're watching this video to download that. Otherwise, you can get it at deeptijainconsulting.com/common obstacles. Let me make sure that's right. Yes, deeptijainconsulting.com/common obstacles. Okay, go ahead and download that free handout if you're interested in seeing what the most common obstacles are that us mompreneurs encounter, and try that saying no out. Okay, all right. And lastly, before I sign off, remember, ladies, we can and we will. Until next time, bye.